Welcome, everyone, to the Super Intelligent Podcast. My name is Mike Elgin, and with me is Emily Forlini. And we are here to talk about the most important, the most high-tech, the most advanced technologies in all the world, and butter. Emily, I'm super jealous because you sent me a picture of the butter you were having for breakfast. It looked like a fine product, and I was really excited and jealous. I'm currently in El Salvador in Central America, where they basically don't make butter here, mostly, as far as I can tell. So how was it? How was the butter?
Delicious. I mean, everyone agrees, I think, butter is one of the best things in the world.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
We could just do our podcast about butter. I mean, it's a little more fun than tech. But yeah, so I've been going through a homemade butter phase. And we're gonna get to tech and how this relates, but it's kind of this theme of authenticity for this week. And I churned butter, which AKA means you just put cultured milk into a KitchenAid mixer and you have butter.
KitchenAid mixer. I picture this big wooden thing with a stick coming out the top.
Kind of wish it was that.
And you wearing this like huge dress with a bonnet and just like, no, that's not.
Sadly, no. It was a lot less cool than that. Like I kind of wish I was just a milkmaid and I was out back all day just
with a
turning
bucket.
it. Yeah. But my husband and I made it. We brought it to our family holiday event and everyone was like, you can make butter. And it's just, no one knows you can do that. And it was so easy. Although we did do the extra step of culturing it, which I think you know about, right? So you have a culturing method.
Well, we have separate culturing methods. So first of all, before we get to the methods, the traditional way it used to work back in the day is everybody lived on a farm, 150 years ago or whatever, and you'd have cows. Somebody would milk the cow. You'd bring the milk into the kitchen, typically, put it in a jar or something, and leave it on the counter waiting for the cream and the milk to separate. It wasn't done mechanically, as it is nowadays, but it was just done naturally. The cream rises to the top. Mm-hmm. And then in the process of sitting there, it would begin to clabber because there's a lot of microorganisms in milk that make it, basically turn it into a kind of cheese-like substance naturally. By the time it's separated, you would skim off the cream, and from that you would make butter. That butter would be cultured naturally. That butter has always been cultured. Since we started pasteurizing, now we have non-cultured butter. But now you have to if you're using pasteurized milk, you have to culture it. So how do you culture butter?
So we heard that the culturing step was a little more work, but added tang and flavor and depth, which rang true versus just the run-of-the-mill butter that we buy at the grocery store. We want something that tastes better. So we basically just put a scoop of yogurt in it in heavy whipping cream. So you start with heavy whipping cream. First things first. Then you just put a scoop of yogurt in it, leave it in an airtight Tupperware on the counter for 2 days, and then it cultured. That's it.
Yeah, so yogurt has its own specific set of microorganisms that turn milk into yogurt typically. So the way that's normally done, in Silicon Valley, a lot of Indian American families make their own yogurt. And basically what they do is you take a dollop of yogurt and you put it in milk and you let it sit around at 110 degrees Fahrenheit for some amount of time, and it turns into yogurt magically. So you're using those same microorganisms to culture the butter, and I'm sure it was super delicious. The way we do it is with kefir. Kefir is another set of microorganisms that also ferment. And like yogurt, like the microorganisms in yogurt, kefir grains don't exist in nature. This is different from sourdough, which is in nature. It's just in the air. These don't exist in nature anymore. They exist only as an artifact of human culture.
Wow.
So they have to be passed along from one person to another. There's no other place to get them. So kefir grains are usually made for kefir, which is a traditional Central European, often a beverage, right? It's a way before refrigeration, it's a way to preserve the milk. You either drink it all at once or you preserve it somehow by making cheese or something like that. And so that's what it's for. But you can also make fizzy drinks with it. You can culture butter. You can do all kinds of things with kefir. You can buy it on Amazon. It's super easy. Anyway, that's how we do it. Both methods, I'm sure, are super delicious. And then you just agitate it until the milk butter separates from the buttermilk, and now you have both butter and buttermilk.
Correct. Yes. And it used to be churning the milkmaid in the backyard, churning the butter to agitate it. Some people know about it, putting it in a plastic bag and shaking it. To me, the mixer was just a miracle. I mean, it took probably 4 minutes. It was the best invention of all time. Yeah.
You throw a
switch.
Then
you just turn it on. Yeah. And then you do have to kind of press it a little bit, mix in salt. You could mix in chives or brown sugar, or if you like flavored butters. And then you also have the buttermilk. And my mom was like, oh, we used to drink buttermilk all the time when I was younger and I was a kid. And I was like, what? Like, no one does that now? And it tasted a lot like kefir or kefir, however you pronounce it. But we don't really make that product in the U.S. anymore. It's because it's a byproduct of making butter. And now it's all just done in a factory and kind of pressure cooked, and it's not really the real deal. So we've also lost the art of just the joy of buttermilk. We made pancakes with it. It was delicious.
It's super delicious. And the buttermilk, by the way, you buy in the supermarket is not buttermilk. What it is it's non-fat milk that's been cultured, and they're basically simulating buttermilk. So we have this simulated cultured byproduct with the butter making process. And then you have uncultured butter. Those are the products that we find in our culture, but it's so much better to have real butter and real buttermilk.
It's delicious.
And so what does this have to do with Gmail, and what does this have to do with AI? And what does this have to do with content creation? Emily, I ask you.
Well, let me tell you, Mike. So another lost art soon to be is writing emails and really writing anything. So Gmail introduced a bunch of AI features that, they think are a big deal. They were talking about how much Gmail's changed since it launched in the 90s and all this stuff. And so basically you're going to be able to just write an email with an AI just from scratch. It can just write your email, which, by the way, Apple has been doing for over a year. So this is a little bit of a follower situation, but given the mass scale and adoption of Gmail, it's pretty big.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you say Apple has been doing this, do you mean in Apple's email app?
Yes. Like the writing tools was was in the very first launch for Apple Intelligence.
I had no idea. I don't use Apple email, and I didn't know they were ahead of the curve in shitifying email.
They kind of invented in shitifying email with they call it writing tools. And it basically can either look at what you've written and proofread it and help you tweak it, be less aggressive. If it's a work email, you're mad at your boss, it'll sanitize, it'll calm it down. Or it'll just write email from scratch, point blank. And so now Gmail just has the same thing. It's rolling out now in the US and then also to paid users around the world for different products they have. 2 more features. They have an AI inbox they're experimenting with, which will filter through your emails, I guess, and tell you what's important. I don't know. Hopefully they don't miss something, right? They already do that a little bit. They have categories. You can filter out spam and stuff, but somehow it'll take it to the next level. And then they also are going to have AI overviews, which we're all familiar with from search. So it's going to summarize. This is another feature Apple has been doing for over a year now. But yeah, so basically you could just get to a point where an AI writes your email, you send it to someone else who reads an AI summary of your AI email, then writes a response with AI. And we're already there. This is going to be happening. We have AIs talking to AIs basically through Gmail.
Yeah. And it's reminds me of that famous cartoon that was published maybe 2 years ago, where they show this person writing an email and they say, wow, AI is great. It can take my bullet points and turn them into this long-winded email. And then they show the recipient saying, wow, this is great. AI can take this long-winded email and turn it into bullet points. That's where we're at. And of course, the AI is making these choices. Now, Gemini, which is what they're using for the AI in Gmail, is better than Apple Intelligence. So it's superior email. It will probably more convincingly write and make better choices, for lack of a better term, for making email. And this is something that's been going on forever. Now, this really bothers me. There's kind of this dark patterns around pushing email on people. So, for example, I use Squarespace for our Gastronomad site and a couple of other things. And they're like, oh, just let AI write this for you. One of the most vexing dark patterns in pushing AI is in LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a let AI rewrite it for you button, but they put the button in the same place where the post button used to be. And so they trick you into clicking on the AI button to demo their feature when you habitually would click there to post. You just want to post a little blurb and a picture or whatever on LinkedIn. And now I've been tricked several times into clicking on the AI thing. I'm like, no, I don't want to rewrite with AI. But they just push and push and push. Who else is doing this? Well, Microsoft 365, Notion, Coda, Slack, Zoom, Canva, Buffer, Shopify, WordPress. I mean, everybody's pushing AI.
Nextdoor, Amazon, with the AI summaries of reviews, helps you write reviews. I think the whole business world has been like, oh, this is a quick AI trick we can add to our website. It's the first frontier of something every website feels like they can put without a lot of work. And so it's just everywhere now.
That's exactly the point. I believe that companies are doing the same thing from the same motivation as people who are having AI write for them, which is that, like, it's easy. You want to have new features. You want to be in tune with what's happening. Of course, AI is what's happening in tech. Just throw AI at your product and look at us. We're on the cutting edge. But there's a downside and there's a dark side of this, because as we talked about on this podcast many times, things don't happen in isolation. You don't change everything without changing something else. And what you change is the public reaction to content when content is now being made in a completely different way. And so Adam Mosseri did a post, I think it was in the first week of the new year. And his post was basically, Adam Mosseri, of course, is the head of Instagram.
Right.
And so he's like an influencer in his own right. He is constantly posting and he's trying to answer the question that every influencer would ask, which is that, how do I get more followers? How do I get more engagement? How do I get the algorithm to pick up my stuff and turn me into a viral influencer? And so he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that we live in a new world now. As of 2026, everything has changed. He said, and I'm quoting, "Deepfakes are getting better and better. AI is generating photographs and videos indistinguishable from captured media. The feeds are starting to fill up with synthetic media." He said, but AI makes polish cheap. It's cheap to produce and boring to consume. And therefore, he claims that if you want to stand out in 2026 as an Instagram influencer, you can't just be authentic. You have to prove that you're a person. You have to prove that you're authentic. In other words, everyone who sees your stuff on Instagram will assume it's all AI generated and therefore of no value.
Right.
And so to break past that assumption, you have to demonstrate explicitly that you are not using AI, or if you are using AI in some capacity, you need to disclose exactly how you're using it. So for example, one of the arguments that people say is like, there's really no such thing anymore as non-AI generated content. For example, I may take a photograph and I might use AI to just basically make little tweaks. I should be given full credit for the quality of the photograph because it's really the full photograph. But what I did was I used AI to maybe remove a tourist in the background, let's say. Whereas the person looking at the photograph on Instagram might assume that the whole thing was just AI generated, in which case I just clicked the button, I typed a sentence, and there it is. And so if I am full disclosure and say, by the way, I used AI to remove an unsightly tourist in the background. Okay, now people go, okay, right, this is a real photo. And then they will think more highly of the fact that this was something I experienced personally. This is a real thing. This is, et cetera. And so
your creative process. I worked on this photo, because sometimes when people just post these gorgeous glossy photos, it's really difficult to know what went into it. Maybe you'll get more credit.
Well, the other thing is that in this world where AI is the default and the assumption, the appeal of somebody authentic is much higher, much, much higher.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people are following influencers, if people are going to allow themselves to be influenced, they want to be influenced by higher quality people, for lack of a better term. So, for example, if somebody's into travel, which I am, and there are all these travel influencers, well, there are basically two kinds now. They're the kinds of people who sit in their basement and they churn out AI generated pictures of themselves in fabulous locations. They have AI make their face and body perfect, give them amazing clothes, put them on one of those wooden cigarette boats in the Mediterranean while they're sitting in their basement as in some less glamorous place. And there's the people who actually go travel, they go to these places, and they know how to travel. Like, right, they basically, there's somebody you want to be influenced by because they are actually walking the walk. So that's probably not the best example, but that is an example of where we're at. So
it's a kind of a crazy situation. I guess the question is, what do we do? I think we all have thoughts about this lingering in the back of our mind. And, you know, I wrote a piece in 2024 about how when people first started messaging or emailing from their phones, it would say sent from my iPhone. So back then we felt some kind of obligation to tell people, you know, that we were using technology to write in a different manner than we might have if we were sitting at our computer. And now with the AI thing, it's just not a discussion at all. And it would be just such a great relief to me if I knew how everyone in my life was using AI, because at this point, you kind of have to assume that everyone might be playing with it. They might be using it a lot. Some people up, 100% of what they're putting out, and some people just a little bit, but there isn't, for whatever reason, not a huge space to talk about it. Like my brother read my piece on, I remember we talked about that guy, Jim, several weeks ago. He had a bunch of AI girlfriends, and one of them was based on someone who's wanted for arrest, basically, and he didn't know.
Right.
So that I ended up publishing that, and it did really well, and everyone loved it. My brother loved it a little too much, and I was like, "What are you doing with AI?" Like I think people it was more about the companion aspect of like talking to an AI. I was just like wondering, like, what, and so you said to me earlier, sometimes it makes you suspicious of other people. Maybe he's using AI totally normally and just thought it was intellectually interesting, but there's a privacy about it that people hold, like how they're using AI is currently private. And I think that could be a concern. Usually when things are not out in the open, it creates shame. Shame is not good. Shame makes people do weird things. I feel like it should be more transparent.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it reminds me of what's happening with Grok. This is a bit of a tangent, but
yeah, that was big this week, though.
Huge, because what's happening is that, and I think this is such an interesting story in so many ways, but basically what's happening is that in comments, you can just type a thing into the comment and have Grok post something in the comments of some important person or some serious person or some critic of something or other that you disagree with might say something, and you can just, bam, put them into a bikini in the comments. This is interesting in a couple of ways. One thing that's interesting to me is that, of course, you can download a picture of somebody. You can upload it into some tool of which there's lots of it apparently, and you can put them into other scenarios, including into revealing clothing, right? And then you can upload it. Okay, in that act of uploading, you the user are violating the terms of service of most social networks in the act of uploading, right? In the case of this Grok feature, Grok is uploading it, right?
Right.
The network that comes with the terms of is violating its own terms of service, right? So you see what I'm saying? It's a fundamentally different thing conceptually. And then the most bizarre thing about it is that we live in a world where both Google and Apple are afraid to ban the app. They're afraid to ban the app because Elon Musk is a friend of the president. The president represents the pro-pedophile, pro-sexual harassment faction of the Republican Party. That's where we are now. And it's just a completely bizarre situation where, I mean, if some startup came out with this feature, they wouldn't last an hour on the Apple App Store.
He's a huge leash. It's Elon Musk. Yeah.
And so he's got powerful friends, and therefore and the other thing is interesting. And I saw the story and I saw the story debunked, and I haven't really gone in to check out which is true. So the story I heard is that in reaction to the pushback from Europe, I think Indonesia has already banned Grok or X or something like that.
Yeah.
They made it a paid only. So if you have a blue check mark.
Yep.
Okay, so that's true.
That's true. Yeah, it's paid only in the US, and they apologized. X apologized, and also admitted that it very likely violated US child sexual abuse material laws.
But if you pay, you can still do it. So this is what
welcome to America.
Exactly. Well, welcome to the America of 2026, because this is how, and I hate to categorize people, but this is how these effing people think. Oh, if you have money and you pay, you can abuse people. You can humiliate people. You can basically do whatever you want.
That's always been the case.
Pay.
It's just getting
It's always been the case, but
glorified.
At least they used to pretend it wasn't the case. Now, it's so blatant.
It's very
It's like,
blatant.
oh, sorry, we're violating people's, we have this tool that basically is used for shaming people. We know we shouldn't really do it. So we'll just profit from it instead of just letting the free people use it. It's bizarre that this is the reaction.
Yeah, it just feels like the whole conversation about revenge porn and all those evils that we've introduced into society just didn't. I mean, it got somewhere, but then when you have something like this that happens and people are they don't even really care. It's just concerning. It's just like good versus evil in my head. Even with the authenticity stuff, Gen Z and younger generations have been advocating for more authenticity on the internet for a while. There was the Be Real app. Do you know about that?
Oh yeah, I used it for a long time.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, so you can describe it. What does it do?
So basically it prompts you to take a picture of yourself at a random point. And so the idea is that you share a random, unattractive, just whatever you happen to be doing when it prompts you. Of course, you could do it unprompted and so on. There were ways around it, but it wasn't viral. There's no gamification of the social element of it. So you really didn't, nobody really goes viral on it. Does it still exist even?
I do think it exists. I haven't heard much about it. But yeah, the idea being just, this is my life. I don't have time to edit this photo. I don't even have time to, go over to that beautiful part of the beach where I just was. Now I'm in the locker room and think the floor is gross. I'm going to take a picture of the floor, just really showing the real life. And then the younger generation's also buying disposable cameras again. They want to show something grainy, something real. There's like this deep yearning to get away from the influencer culture. Even TikTok, I would argue, it became very popular because for whatever reason, the culture on it wasn't that you needed to have full makeup and be on a beach and a perfect body. People were just posting them in their cars and they were just saying like, this is, what I think. And it ended up being a more authentic space. So all that has happened and it's just not at all in the dialogue, and we're not really seeing it reflected in the direction that tech is going.
Yeah. Be Real, by the way, really failed in my life because it would catch me at a random thing, and I'm like, I'm wine tasting and eating truffles in Croatia right now. And I was like,
what's wrong with that?
You're supposed to show that you're like in your cubicle at work or something like that. It was like my Be Real looked unreal because it would always
like
catch
an alcoholic.
Me. Yeah, at a truffleholic.
A truffleholic. You're like a little boar rooting around the world.
Yes, yeah.
For truffles.
But there's another interesting tool coming out from the co-founder of both Twitter and Pinterest. Let me see. Let me look at my phone. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a new antisocial. I call it an antisocial network. It's called Tangle.
Okay.
And the idea is that the founders believe that social media is a problem. The things that they created is a problem because instead of living with intention, your day gets just consumed by this compulsion. So you feel like you have to get on social media and just, you're either doom scrolling, you're swiping through and looking at everything, and you're people watching and all this stuff on social media, and it really just eats up your day, and you never get anywhere in life because you're consumed by social media. This is true. This happens to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so their idea is to have this app, and when you open it up in the morning, if you open it up in the morning, it says, what are your intentions for today? I don't know the exact wording, but it's basically, what do you intend to accomplish today? Mm-hmm. And then it turns into a kind of life log. You're like, okay, I just spent 2 hours doing email, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end or near the end of the day, it says, did you accomplish what you set out to accomplish? And the social aspect is you have a small circle of friends. So like Be Real, it's not a thing where you have this mass audience. You have a small number of followers who are basically your actual real world friends. And the idea is they're like a support group. Now, like, they encourage you to stick to your intentions. Yeah, it's right now it's a invite only, and I'm on the list. I haven't been allowed in yet, but it does exist. And so I think this is it's a very earnest company that they created. I think it's called Westco, based in San Francisco, and it's a very earnest idea. They're so earnest, in fact, that in their lobby is a kind of ofrenda. So basically, they ask employees to bring a photo of a deceased loved one, and all these photos are in this table in their lobby with candles. And so
it's a little much. What?
Yeah,
that's
the idea
too much.
But the idea is to center you on the truth about life, which is that it's short
what you
and
really
limited,
care about.
And you should live with intention and not waste your life on social media. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I
mean,
can't really
maybe it's good.
It.
That was my gut reaction was whoa. But
my reaction was if they really succeed and they have 50,000 employees, that's going to be a hell of a table. But,
a lot of candles. Got to change to probably flameless.
Exactly. And my second reaction is like, they got a lot to learn about building an ofrenda. Like you go in Mexico and you look at the ofrendas and they are beautiful. Candles, flowers, like all this kind of stuff. They just have a couple of pathetic candles from the candle store at the mall.
Ofrenda elitist.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I am. I'm an insufferable ofrenda snob. But hey, it is what it is. But anyway, so what occurs to me about this app is that it won't replace social media, right? I can see using it, and it may help with your social media addiction. Not you, Emily, but you, the royal you. It may help with your social media addiction, but it doesn't replace the town square. It's not a place where you can engage as a citizen in current events and politics, which I think is a legitimate use. What I like to see is a social network where you can do that in a much healthier way, in a way that doesn't make you everybody crazy. But anyway,
Impossible.
That's another.
They need to make
that's
money.
Another attempt. It's another attempt, like Be Real, at breaking the cycle of addiction in social media.
Well, we talked about this last time, and I said, remember, I was going to put my phone in black and white.
Yeah, how'd that go?
So I have been doing it for a couple weeks, and actually not that well. I was talking to my friend about it, and I've kept it in black and white for a long time, and my eyes just got used to it. Like, I think maybe initially I was put off and kind of struggling. Like, I kind of wanted to put it back in color, but after just 2 days, I just got used to it, and I didn't really miss the color, and I was just back to my old ways.
Okay.
And I talked to my friend, and she said,
in black and white, though.
In black and white,
you're still using it the same way you did. It's just your
in black and white, and
boring.
I just didn't care. And I talked to my friend. She said, you know what? The same thing happened to me. She was like, it was just diminishing returns, and I stopped even caring or realizing it was normal. Like, I would show people my phone, like, haha, look at this, and they'd say, why is your phone in black and white? And I was like, oh yeah, my phone's in black and white. Like, it was amazing. It just got used to it, but that made it ineffective. So now I think probably that's not the winning strategy.
So that's another point for the flip phone people. Maybe you should have a flip phone.
Oh, I know. That would be
You know,
really
the
dramatic.
the solution might be to have both, to carry the flip phone, use it for texting and for phone calls, and then just to, I don't know, schedule the use of, because you wanted to post on TikTok, of course, Instagram stories can't be posted from a laptop.
I did something else.
You have to use a phone.
It's up. I realize maybe it's more about just holding accountable to using your time in the way that you want. So I got a nice fancy notebook from a European company with beautiful pages and old school binding. And I wrote my goals for the next 3 months. And they're pretty simple. And one is just like post on TikTok twice a week, which is very tangible, something I can do. One is like pitch a freelance story, which is something I don't really do. Like pitch 2 freelance stories, in the next 3 months, which I haven't done that at all. But so that has stuck in my head, and like just doing the 3-month chunk of time. Like I posted on TikTok like 3 times this week instead of 2. Like it just kind of got me going. So I don't know. My phone's not. I'm still on my phone, but I'm trying to use it in ways that I like and that I feel are a good use of my time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'll strike upon the ultimate solution eventually. Yeah.
But I failed. Back to moral of the story, I failed.
I mean, haven't we all?
I tried to save it. Yeah, but I set goals. But
yeah.
No.
I mean, it's funny because I have a friend who's and she listens to this podcast, as does her husband, and they're very good friends of ours. They're wonderful people.
Cool. Hello. Wonderful people.
In fact, they're going to be joining us here in El Salvador shortly. But so this woman she's a lawyer in San Francisco, and she sketches. She has a notebook. She has little paints. She has little colors, and she does these incredible things. Like she takes notes, mostly through they're like cartoons. And
wow,
she basically summarizes everything. And it's so amazing.
What? She's
and when
on I first a different saw her level.
Oh, totally. And her cartoons are like literally you could publish them, and
wow.
and everybody be like, wow, she's a great cartoonist. Really funny, really interesting, but a great way to capture memories, a great way to, and she does this for all kinds of different scenarios. And certainly when she does gastronomic experiences, she captures those, and they're wonderful. And sometimes she shared them with other people on the group. Anyway, I got so inspired by what she was doing. I was like, I'm going to do that. And I got a notebook and I got some pens and stuff like that. And I just couldn't do it. Like, I just can't do it. I just wish I could, but I can't. And
well,
I just end up writing words, and then I can barely read my own writing. So it's just a problem for me. So I really like a keyboard. I have a portable keyboard that fits in my pocket now. And I just
cool.
I'm a typist. I have to just accept that about myself.
You know who takes handwritten notes is Sam Altman. There's this clip circulating on social media. It's from a podcast. This is classic social media. It looks like he just did the interview. The person writes a caption like it just happened. I looked it up. It's from a podcast in 2024. But anyway, he takes handwritten notes, and he had this whole thing about his note-taking method, which I thought was very funny. Like he's like, get a cheap spiral notebooks, because the spiraling is easy to rip the pages out. So he writes a lot of notes on these different pages. And the notebook was kind of small, like not a big spiral notebook, one of those kind of maybe a quarter size. And he writes and he rips it out, and then he could put the pages next to each other to compare ideas. And the kicker is that he crumples them up and throws them on the floor and creates large piles for his housekeeper to sweep up. So he can't even get a trash can, and he can't even put his crumples in the trash can. And he started to talk about, so when my housekeeper comes and he kind of like backed out, because I think he realized it was not a good look. But yeah, a lot to dissect there, but basically the AI man takes handwritten notes.
That reminds me of a viral clip that is circulating from Jimmy Kimmel, where they found old footage of, what's his name? Pee Wee Himmler. What's his name? He's in the Trump administration. He's in charge of immigration.
Pee Wee Herman? What?
Pee Wee Himmler is his other name.
The Trump administration.
You know what I'm talking about. The guy who's
I don't
in charge
know
of
that person.
Oh, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I'll think of it in a second.
Oh, just because I don't know doesn't mean. I mean, I'm sure you're right. I try to not know every single person in the Trump administration.
I'm gonna look this up because if I'm gonna disparage somebody, really want it to go to the right person. Let me see. Who is he? They're not giving it to me. Who's the
Inspector
guy?
Gadget.
You know the guy?
It's Inspector Gadget.
Anyway,
what does he do? What does he do? We can look it up.
He's like he looks like a Nazi. He's like this super right-wing racist who's in charge of Trump administration's immigration policy. He's also involved. He's the guy who went, you know what I'm talking about. He went on to CNN and said like the world must be ruled by force, talking about the Venezuela thing.
Is he the ICE chief?
I don't know what his actual title is. He's just one of those guys.
His name is Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Himmler. Let me see.
I want you to laugh at my Pee Wee Herman joke. Deputy Chief of Staff Steve Miller.
Steve Miller, thank you. Oh, thank goodness. Steve Miller.
Okay, you said his name was Pee Wee Himmler.
Himmler.
That's terrible.
Oh, it's exactly.
His name is Steve Miller.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, so he was, Jimmy Kimmel's staff found footage of him in high school, and he was like this noxious activist. And they showed him giving a speech, I guess it was high school, where he was saying, why do we have to pick up our own trash when we pay people to do it for us? That was his big cause of the moment when he was in high school. Very bizarre. It also reminds me of another startup where some engineer had created a trash can that uses AI and machine learning to catch the crumpled up paper you throw. So if you throw it and you're going to miss, the trash can moves to get under the crumpled paper and catches it.
Wow.
Which clearly Sam Altman needs.
Clearly, yeah. They're also, I mean, CES was this week, which we didn't really talk about because I don't know if anyone cares. It's just the big question is like, what are the weird, wacky things at CES?
Yeah.
And what are the trends, and do any of them matter? But robot vacuums continue to be a little bit of a smart home trend. And, you know, a lot of the new ones have little arms. They pick up socks and they can pick up Steve Altman or Sam Altman's trash. Okay, I'm getting it all mixed up. Steve Miller, Sam Altman. I don't know. But basically he takes handwritten notes.
And they go upstairs now.
Yeah. They go upstairs. They have legs. Yes.
Yeah. So, where were we?
Well, I'm wondering on the AI writing thing, how weird would it be is there a version of sent from my iPhone for the AI era? Like, it would be really weird to put something at the bottom of my email and say, basically, sometimes I hit the auto reply. Like, if you send me a file and a little suggestion comes up and says, great, thank you so much, I might send it. I might just send it.
It reminds me of when I used Google Plus and Google Glass. You could just post directly by voice from Google Glass, and it would put a little note in there saying, seen through glass, or it had some little phrase. And so there's the automated version. This also happens with Gemini. If you create a picture, I think, with Gemini, it puts a little logo in the bottom that indicates that it was AI generated. Of course, there are other tools, AI tools that will remove that logo. But those are automated. But in the absence of tools that put something in there for you, there should be a norm where you can concisely indicate how you used AI. I think that would be nice. Just a little thing in parentheses. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that too.
I'm going to do it as an experiment. So what should we write? What should we write? Let's make a standard and both post it.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are different ways to, for example, if you colorize a black and white photo, you can just say something like colorized using Nano Banana, or you can
wait for emails. I was thinking for emails.
Using Perplexity.
For emails, are you going to like in the signature? You know, because it just shows up.
Well, but it's going to be different based on what you do. So, for example, if you spell check with Grammarly and then send an email, spell checked with Grammarly. So, what you did and what you used, right? Spell checked with Grammarly.
Yeah, I guess one really clear line is I am not going to respond to an email I didn't personally read. So I'm not going to respond to something based on an AI overview.
Yeah.
That's just clear. But whether I autocomplete a sentence or if it's someone I don't even know, I've never met, and I just do a full auto reply, that happens in the case of journalism because you get so many emails from people you don't know, and they're often just companies pitching you. And if I do want to, I'm sort of interested, but not really, I might just be like, hey, thanks for sharing. Like, let's keep in touch, but it's like, I don't know that person. So do I owe them typing that out?
No, you do not. I actually have a filter in Gmail that takes any sort of press release or any sort of outreach from PR and just puts it into a folder,
right?
Which I look at once a month, or in case I missed something or whatever. But I mainly don't look at it. You're a reporter. Like I have much a different approach to stuff, whereas I don't really have a beat or anything like that. And my email address has been public since the 90s. And so I'm literally got 200 such messages a day, and I just don't have the time to look through them all. So
of course I don't look through them all. I just, if the title is something I'm vaguely interested in, I'll look.
Yeah.
That's how I found that AI chatbot story, the gem guy. And so sometimes there are gems, but vast majority, huge pile of garbage.
Sometimes there are gems and sometimes there are gyms. But you are now a vibe coding expert. I think you should vibe code a thing that monitors everything you're doing and then constructs a little sentence for you and puts it at the bottom saying how you used AI and what you used it for. What do you think?
Like you write a program that would create stats on how I use AI, so I learn more about how I use it, and then
that monitors how you're using AI and then discloses it for you.
In
your
the
emails.
Email. That's cool.
It could be a Chrome extension if you use Chrome.
I do.
And then this could turn into a business, and then you would become this incredibly wealthy tech billionaire and have no time for me or this podcast.
No, it would just get ripped off immediately.
Oh, yeah. By some other vibe.
Especially because it's in Gmail and Google's just trying to desperately wants everyone to love its AI strategy. And if that's what people love, they'll do it. Like they'll just do anything. Yeah.
One of my favorite new things and phrases is doom coding. Have you heard about doom coding? So there's this, sort of maker type, programmer type who set up his desktop and his phone so that he could do vibe coding from his phone, but by connecting to his desktop. And so he shows himself vibe coding at a concert, vibe coding at the beach, vibe coding here, vibe coding there. And it's really quite hilarious. I don't know why it's called doom coding. I guess because you doom scroll on your phone. The phone is basically a doom scrolling machine. And therefore, by using your phone, it becomes a doom something. But I thought that was pretty funny. But that's what we want that's what Google should be doing for us, right? That's what we want. We don't want just features as they're offering now, empowering you to trick the person who's getting your email into thinking that you generated this email. We want them to help us, the writer, to live in 2026 according to the rules that Messeri outlined, and disclose for us which of the tools we use. Finished 2 sentences with Gemini. It's even be a flex for them because it's like advertising their features.
You'd think, we could debate this. I'm sure a lot of people listening have thoughts because it's not like everything in life you disclose exactly what you did and how you did it. So I guess we're saying that there's a trust problem in society. We know that. Everyone's been talking about that. We see technology dividing us. And now we don't even know if the person, a dear, dear loved one, it even said what they said to us. So that to me puts us in a different camp. Maybe you could argue something else, but like how much do we disclose? I don't know. Maybe what you're suggesting might be a bit much. Like, I changed this word.
Well, I mean, we already have norms around disclosing certain things. So, for example, my son, our producer, Kevin, works at Coggy. I mention Coggy from time to time professionally, and I always disclose, and that's a journalistic norm around ethics. The reason you do that is so that people can take your opinions with a grain of salt if you're being a cheerleader about something, typically, or, they may know that you're doing that. And if you mention that without disclosing it, then they think, oh, okay, they've got this agenda.
Yeah.
We have norms around disclosing if we go on vacation. You could go on vacation for 2 weeks and not tell anyone and just be non-responsive. But then we have out of office replies, which are designed to let people know why we're ghosting them.
Mm-hmm. I will say businesses only disclose something if it's legally mandated. So that's another level of disclosure. So we know Google's not going to disclose. They're going to disclose as little as possible about AI as they can, which is another weird cultural aspect of the AI industry.
But the extreme minority of businesses that disclose things that they don't need to disclose makes us trust them more. So, for example, I've mentioned before that we're investors in a winery in Berkeley. That winemaker, Jared Brandt, is trying to model a norm in the wine industry to disclose ingredients like other foods. Like if you buy a loaf of bread at the store, it's going to disclose the ingredients.
Oh yeah,
that's mandated by law.
Yeah,
wine industry, the things they need to disclose are part of a negotiated settlement with the government, which is to say that there are 200 and something ingredients and manufacturing methods that you don't have to disclose if you're a winemaker. So you can add all kinds of stuff and never disclose it. And this, he believes, is, makes people not trust their wine, and they shouldn't trust their wine because there's all kinds of nasty stuff. For example, if people are vegan, vegans need to learn that many, many wines are not vegan. They use fish bones, refining agents, and stuff like that. He's trying to model a norm where you list the ingredients, and he does it. So he says ingredients, grapes and sulfites, or grapes and no sulfites.
Right. Basically, am I going to get a hangover or not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the role of sulfites in hangovers is overblown, and it's not really the cause of it usually. But anyway, that's a different point. The point is that if you say that it just has grapes and sulfites, then you now think, wow, I assumed you'd use all these other exotic, bizarre things, but you don't. So I trust you more. Plus, I know that you're disclosing. You don't want to disclose. You don't want to make a big deal of the fact that you're using sulfites because it's such a flex to not use sulfites in wine. It's rare, but it's a flex, and you may want people, since it's a natural wine, to assume you're not using sulfites. But there it is. You're disclosing you're using sulfites. It engenders trust. And so I think this is the new world we live in with content. The whole point is to say exactly how you're using it so that people will trust you and trust that the content is actually coming from you and not just a button that you pushed. I have a uncle I mentioned on this podcast before, I think. He writes books about all kinds of things that he personally knows about. And one of which is about my great-grandfather, who was an immigrant, and wrote about his life. And, he was a preacher, minister, whatever. And he published this book a few years ago, and now he's going to republish it, and all the pictures are going to be colorized with Nano Banana. And he'll disclose it. If he didn't disclose it, you'd see these colorized pictures and you'd be like, wait a minute, it's 1890, and he's got this colored photograph. You
I'm a huge recolorization nerd.
Oh, me too.
World War I and World War II in color.
Yes.
I saw it in theaters. The one that the Lord of the Rings director, he did was it World War I in color that he did?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think those were actual color photo. He found the rare color photos, or did he colorize them?
He colorized, but there was a whole creative method behind it. They also added sound, and they used real people, created real sounds. I mean, this was in maybe 2016, so remarkably a very different world. But yeah, I think it's cool. It brings it to life.
It absolutely brings it to life. You'd see these old-timey black and white photos, and you're like, "Oh, who are these creaky old buzzards?" And then they colorize it, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, that looks like somebody I might know.
Right.
And, it just looks like a real
Yeah,
person.
you can picture yourself. I guess a good question is Nano Banana going to be accurate? And is your relative, your uncle, able to fact check the colorization?
No. I mean, no way.
That would be a historical risk.
There's this one example he showed of my great-grandmother, and it was a portrait. What they had done was they had darkened the edges. I guess there was a technique back in the day to do that with the old-timey cameras they used. And so her face and shoulders and neck and all that part of her upper torso were visible. And then as you got down toward her arms and lower in the picture, it sort of went black. And so the actual visual information was missing, except if you really look carefully, you could see just the outline of where the arms were and so on. And he put it through Nano Banana, and it just completed. He said, get rid of this darkening around the edges, this vignetting. And it did it beautifully, perfectly. And it followed the faint outlines to put the arms and the edges of the arms and so on exactly where they actually were. Breathtaking, really amazing. Wow. And suddenly you realize when you see the picture, you think, oh, this person must be 180 years old. And then with the colorized version, you're like, oh my gosh, she's like 25. Like this is it's just incredible, the effect. So I'm a big fan, but the problem with that is what it will do is it will actually mangle the face. So if you zoom in on the black and white original, typically, it's kind of grainy, and it's your brain kind of, when it's shrunk down at the regular size, your brain kind of says, oh, it's a face, it looks like a certain type of person. I think I kind of could recognize that person. And then when you zoom in, it's just patchy and grainy. Then when you run it through AI, it just like turns it into this freaky thing where it just is freaky.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem because it's actually changing what the people look like.
Right. You have AIs telling history now. They didn't have acne. Their teeth were straight. Their skin was flawless, and their hair was, looked a certain way. And it might just be what Google thinks you want it to look like. Like, let's say you upload a picture of your grandparents, your grandmother. You want to be like, wow, my grandma was so beautiful back in 19 whatever. And they'll probably give you an image that makes you think that.
Yes. Well, I in fact did that very thing. So
really?
I colorized a picture of my grandmother at the age of probably like 17, 18, sitting on a horse. And it turned her into
Marilyn Monroe.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, it turned her into somebody else. Like it was a bad photograph in the sense that most of her face was cast in shadow. So it was contre-jour, like, the light was coming from the back. And so it basically just made up a face. And the same thing happened with Renee Nicole Good, who was shot by ICE agents in Minneapolis recently. And the shooter was wearing a mask. And so people just said, oh yeah, remove the mask. It was like Grok removing the clothes, right? But remove the mask. And it just made up a face, and people were incredulous enough to say, look, now we know what he looks like.
Oh no.
But we don't, because AI just made up a face. And so that was a big source of disinformation around that one of the many around that whole situation.
Now I feel great about the world, and I think I'm just going to go back to eating some butter.
Thank you for bringing it full circle. I think I speak for both of us when I say that we recommend that you embrace authenticity in your content. If you use AI to disclose it, find out some way to automate it. Emily is going to become a tech mogul, and she's going to vibe code a solution that's going to set the world on fire. And also make your own butter. So
and if you need to save your soul, make butter. It's a quick,
or at least save your breakfast.
Yeah, it's a quick fix to authenticity, and it's fun, and it takes 2 days of sitting plus 10 minutes.
Well, in my case, my wife insisted we do it with a jar, and that's a much more physically active and time-consuming process, I can assure you.
Don't do that.
No, I know. So we have electricity now.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. This has been another amazing episode of the Super Intelligent Podcast. I feel like we are talking about stuff that we care about. Hopefully you care about. Thank you so much for listening. Give us 5 stars. We do get comments and likes, and we read them, and we love them. So just thank you guys for being on this ride with us, and we will be back next week.